right, dance fans, buckle up. You wanted a deep dive on Disney Night from Dancing with the Stars, and we are delivering
Oh, yeah.
Season 33, Episode 6, with all the glitz, the scores, and some behind-the-scenes gems thanks to Entertainment Weekly. Ready to get into it?
Absolutely. This episode really ramps up the pressure.
Yeah.
You know, it's Disney night, but the dance-off is looming, so every performance matters.
No kidding. It started off with a bang. That Friend Like Me opening number had everyone on their feet. Even Alfonso and Julianne couldn't resist. Talk about setting the mood.
Oh, for sure.
But what struck me was how they used that energy to set up the team dance rivalry later on. Team Roar versus Team Goofs. Brilliant.
It's smart strategy, right? You're already invested in the theme before the individual dances even begin. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, there were some performances that really stood out even beyond the Disney magic.
Oh, for sure. Jen Tran, our bachelorette, and Sasha with their Little Mermaid rumba. Okay. Maybe a missed opportunity for Sasha not to rock a crab costume, but Jen delivered that fairy tale romance vibe.
And Sasha's footwork. So precise, it elevated the storytelling beyond just the steps. They weren't just dancing, they were embodying the characters.
You're right. I got so caught up in the sweetness, I almost missed that detail. And then we had the bachelor himself, Joey Graziadei, going full Tarzan for his samba, complete with a wig, though thankfully he opted for pants instead of a loincloth like Niall DeMarco did back in his season.
It's interesting, right? Joey's Tarzan felt more playful, which makes sense considering his personality on The Bachelor. He wasn't going for raw intensity. It was all about that fun, almost goofy charm.
Totally. But you know who really owned the night? Chandler Kinney dancing to her own song, We Own the Night, from Zombies 2. And to make it even more epic, her Zombies co-stars, Milo and Meg, were there, cheering her on friendship goals for sure.
Talk about adding an extra layer of authenticity. She wasn't just dancing to a Disney song. She was living her own Disney moment, and the judges felt that.
They absolutely did. She and Brandon tied for the top spot with a score of 27, and that wasn't the only surprise at the top of the leaderboard. Danny Amendola, who knew he had that in him. His Deadpool-inspired jazz routine was insane.
It was unexpected, for sure. Remember Derek Hughes' comment? People were sleeping on you, Danny? He was so impressed with Danny's commitment to the character, the lifts, even those punches. He was like, martial arts meets Dancing with the Stars.
Eric nailed it. And speaking of nailing it, that tie at the top meant immunity for Chandler and Brandon. PLOS 3 bonus points for next week. Talk about a power move.
A power move that could completely change the game as we head into the dance-off. Those bonus points could be the difference between staying and going home.
Entertainment Weekly even quoted Brandon saying, "I feel like the pretty girl in high school for the first time." I guess immunity does that to you.
Right, but you can't blame him for being excited. So we had romance, we had playful energy, we had Deadpool. And individual dances were a whirlwind, but then it was time for those team dances, and things got really interesting.
Oh yeah, Team Roar took on I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King. And while they brought the charisma, the judges weren't feeling the synchronization.
They pointed out how their performance focused more on individual moments rather than working as a cohesive unit. It was like a bunch of mini solos instead of a true team effort.
Meanwhile, Team Goofs, with their eye-to-eye routine from the Goofy movie, they were tight, energetic, and the judges were showering them with praise.
It highlighted how crucial that synergy is for a team dance. They weren't just dancing next to each other. They were dancing with each other.
Yeah, totally. And the scores reflected that Team Goofs took the win. But even with all that Disney magic in the air, somebody had to say goodbye, and sadly, it was Phaedra Parks.
It's tough, isn't it? She
Yeah.
brought so much energy to the show. But it seems like those Real Housewives have a hard time making it far in the competition.
It's true. Maybe the demanding schedules of both worlds just don't mix well. But we loved having her. Before we move on to those individual scores, I did want to touch on one little detail from Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, you mean about NSYNC's Joey Fatone giving Danny advice for his Deadpool routine?
Exactly. It's so cool to see that Dancing with the Stars connection spanning across seasons, like a little behind-the-scenes mentorship from a past champ.
It speaks to the legacy of the show, right? It's not just a competition, it's a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's break down those scores, because there were some surprises beyond just the top two.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of those scores. Remember, this is where we see how the judges are really evaluating each performance beyond the glitz and the themes.
And trust me, this leaderboard is packed. We already know Chandler and Danny tied for the top with 27 points each, but Chandler has those bonus points to consider.
Right. She's starting next week with a 30 before even stepping onto the dance floor, thanks to that immunity win.
Definitely a strategy to keep in mind, but hot on their heels were Joey and Jenna with their playful samba and Ilona and Alan's jazz routine. both earning a very respectable 25 out of 30.
And those scores reflect two very different strengths. Joey's performance was all about personality, selling that Tarzan charm. But Ilona, her jazz routine was technically brilliant. Her extensions, the control, the way she used every inch of the stage.
It's true, she's got this power and grace that's just mesmerizing. And then things got really interesting in the middle of the pack with a three-way tie for fifth place. Stephen and Riley's, Charleston Jen, and Sasha's rumba, and even Phaedra and Val's jazz routine, all with 24 points.
That cluster of scores tells you just how competitive this season is. A tiny slip-in technique.
Yeah.
A moment where the connection falters can make all the difference at this point.
Every point counts for sure. And bringing up the rear with a score of 22 was Dwight and Daniela's jazz routine. They've had a bit of a roller coaster ride this season, haven't they?
They have, but even with a lower score, you can see their dedication. It's not always about being at the top. It's about that continuous improvement. What stands out to you about these scores? Anything surprising or unexpected?
Yeah. Honestly, seeing Phaedra up there with a 24 is a bit of a shock, especially knowing she got eliminated. Maybe that earlier tango score really hurt her chances.
It's possible. Remember, the judges' scores only tell part of the story. The viewers' votes hold a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of surprises, who would have predicted Danny Amendola would be a frontrunner?
Right. This season is wild, but now we've got the dance-off to factor in, which adds a whole new layer of pressure.
Absolutely. It's not just about delivering a strong individual performance anymore. Now they have to be ready to outshine the opponents head-to-head.
Yeah.
It's going to be intense.
It's like a dance battle, and you know some of these couples are going to bring it, especially with Halloween night on the horizon.
Halloween night is always a fan favorite. The costumes, the themes. It's a chance to see a whole other side of these celebrities. Any early predictions on who might slay a spooky theme?
Ooh, that's tough. But based on their performances so far, I'm thinking Chandler and Brandon could really kill it. They've got that dramatic flair, that chemistry. Imagine them as vampires or something.
Now that's a visual. And don't underestimate Danny and Whitney. They've shown they're willing to take risks. Think outside the box. I wouldn't be surprised if they go all out for Halloween.
Maybe zombies, to tie in with Chandler's song. Okay, now I'm getting ahead of myself. But back to the present moment, we did have that elimination, and it's always a bit bittersweet, even when the competition is fierce.
It's true. It's sad to see anyone go home, especially someone like Phaedra, who clearly put her heart into it. But that's the nature of the show. Someone has to go each week.
It's true. And it's not just about the dance skills either, is it? You need that connection with the audience, that's something special that makes people want to vote for you.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the stamina needed to keep up with the demanding rehearsals and the pressure week after week.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
You've got that right. Remember, it's not just Phaedra who struggled. We had that emotional moment with Stephen Twitch, Boss's widow, Allison Hooker, returning to the ballroom.
Such a powerful moment. A testament to the Dancing with the Stars family, the way everyone rallied around her, sharing their love and support.
It was truly touching. Speaking of family, did you see how much support Chandler had from the zombies? Cass, Milo, and Meg being there for her, cheering her on. It's heartwarming.
It adds a whole other dimension to the show, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about winning or losing. It's about the journey, the friendships, the support system that develops along the way.
Okay, so we've covered the highs, the lows, the scores, even those heartwarming moments. But with the dance-off and Halloween night coming up, this competition is about to get even wilder. What are your final thoughts as we head into this next phase?
Yeah, it feels like the competition has really shifted gears now, you know?
Yeah.
We had that Disney magic, but now it's all about strategy, stamina, and just those performances that really grab you like by the
It's
horn.
a make it or break it point in the season for sure. And with the dance-off on top of everything else, it really is anybody's game. We've got those front runners. Yeah. But a single misstep could change everything.
Exactly. It's not just about technical skill anymore. They need that stage presence and the ability to connect to the audience, that wow factor that just leaves you breathless. And the pressure. Oh my gosh. Imagine having to perform your routine knowing you're directly going up against another couple. You're fighting for those votes. It's a whole different ballgame.
It's like a dance duel with the audience deciding the winner. So with all that in mind, knowing what we know about these couples, who do you think might be in danger of elimination next week?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question. It's tough to say, but I think we need to look beyond just the scores and consider who's struggling with consistency, who hasn't quite found their footing yet, or who hasn't really captured the hearts of the viewers.
You're right. It's more than just nailing the steps. It's about that intangible quality that draws people in. And I'm already nervous thinking about those dance-offs. Who's going to really rise to the occasion?
And who's going to crumble under the pressure? It's going to be fascinating to watch. One thing's for sure, though, Halloween night is going to be epic.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking spooky costumes, creative choreography, and those performances that send chills down your spine. I can already picture Chandler and Brandon as vampires, maybe with like a tango twist.
Ooh, a Halloween tango. I like it. And remember, next week we have double eliminations. 2 couples are going home, so the stakes are even higher.
Double eliminations. Wow, talk about a twist. This season just keeps getting more and more intense. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds.
Exactly. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder. With Halloween night, the double eliminations, and the dance-off all coming up, who do you think will be crowned the Mirrorball champion this season?
Oh, that's a tough one. We've got frontrunners like Chandler and Danny, but there are definitely some dark horses emerging too. This season is full of surprises.
It really is. So pay attention to those details, the little shift in the competition. Who's improving each week? Who's connecting the audience on a deeper level? The answers might surprise you.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've broken down Disney Night, we dissected the scores, I even ventured a few predictions for the weeks ahead. But ultimately, the fate of these dancing stars rests in your hands, the viewers. So make sure to tune in next week for Halloween night and those nail-biting dance-offs. It's going to be a scream.
And don't forget to let us know your predictions. We love hearing your thoughts on who will shine and who might stumble. Until next time, happy dancing.
Keep those dancing shoes ready. We'll be back next week for another deep dive into the world of Dancing with the Stars.